and to emanate the will of the Father. It's not commercialism. What's this now at the news? You know, it's got some chick on here, and you know, is it really a chick? You know, you know that could be a guy. I mean, who cares? Just as you get chatting and whatnot, and I get the things muted, and sometimes it gets still such a distraction. You know, you just have to maybe turn it off. You know, there's no real point to it. It's not really. There's nothing's going on about the news about things that needs to be done in America because we're under the gun. We're under attack, and we need to know whose side, where side, you know, is the correct side, because, you know, that control over here and imitations and imaginations and images of what we're, you know, to be, you know, if these things are just total ass crappy, you know, teenagers, young men getting their first drinks of their beer and liquor and sex and this and porn and oh my god, they're drunk and puking, you know. Yeah, that's really a great way to raise up your masses. You know, this government is really fucked up since way back in the beginnings, and it needs to complete flip flop over. You know, and I think Islam has moved in here, and they will completely take over America, to where it won't be America anymore. It'll be Islam. You know. They'll be Islamists. And what happens when these people take over a country? What happens after that moment? What's happening to those people now? How are they living? It's like verses I've read in the Bible where they are to come over and this will be your land. And if you're not accepted into it, well, that's just too damn bad, you know, because you're going to be moving in anyway. And that's out of the Bible, but that's coming out of like what they got put in their Quran, you know. So I think the forefront of it all, with these things that they get to do, or just things, you know, crumbs tossed out there, how do you like this, you know, and see what kind of people join up, and what kind of people really would join up to something that would want to be a Muslim. Incarcerated with Islamism and Mohammedism and those kind of things, you know. What's up with that kind of stuff? It's like they're getting all the rotten fruit, gathering it, because we don't want this spoiling the rest of the herd, the rest of the apple, the rest of the barrel. So they round these critters up, and they've all marked themselves to what they like and what they think, what they feel, and you know, they just need to sacrifice themselves, cut each and every one's throat right through. You know, in 2 minutes, you just think of the Father, you think of the Holy Spirit, and you think of the Creator in this, what we're living in, we're all created. You think of that on your last moments out, to where only you will know what is there. You'll be the first, and 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 the first, until when all this blood and mess has been laid to rest and burnt. Then there'll be no more of this type of behavior. And besides just not killing, would be their treatment of women and what they do to young kids. Wow, I think we've all been abused. That's a shame. So all this abuse never meant to be abuse, or just absolved. So there won't no more of that kindred be. That's the whole point of the Muslim gathering up the flock from this Islamist thing. But it's such a controlling entity that it wants to run what of everything. So what is there for me to do? What is it that you have for me to do? Don't ask me what I can do. I'm not limited like that. Just tell me what it is. I can fix it. I can figure it out. It's just the way it is. It still bugs me that this thing, talking and the moment and the feelings, and at a certain interchange, the cell, it just quits recording. But at least it made a noise. I could hear the sound, and I have my ears on. So that way I wouldn't go on talking and be losing, because that's happened before. But maybe this humidity is helping my hearing. Because I don't have my hearing aid in. I got things to do to get ranged up, and just things to do today, to think today, and everybody should be thinking of good things too, I mean, just let it happen. But that control over what is there for me to be, to do, what is there that I can have done, be done. But you still have freedom of your mind, and freedom of expression, when you are able to see into the venues of governments that are laid out and sent, and their control, and how well they are, and the way they treat the people. Well, the elites are going to become illegals now, because that's not the way it's supposed to be done when heaven is on earth. Heaven to be on earth. That's the way it's got to be. So if you've got good hands, take care of them. Teach them. Teach them. Teach with your hands. Learn with your hands. Because if all technology fails, this is all you're going to have. I haven't checked my PayPal account today. There's got to be at least a couple $1 million in there. Wow, this is great. I don't have to live like this. But live like what? I want to get that giant mausoleum, and this is my home. Come on down and see me. Yeah, we're alive. Come on, yeah, sure. Yeah, I know it's my, just better up, And that's just a classification that I've never even wanted to share. Thoughts and understanding, sure, I can, but I just can't share that. That's just plain silly. Because when all that extra excess can be used, to help somebody. But it needs to be an organization that doesn't rob. But I'm afraid most of them, even like United Healthcare and March of Dimes and the Cancer Society, they've been doing wrong with that money. They're having themselves a ball. They don't have to think about anything that we have to think about when you have to work and pay taxes and make bills, and you have to do and you have to do. These people are living beyond their means. If all was brought down to zero, they would not have anything to hold on in there. Well, they completely ignored them, didn't they? Yeah. There goes a plane. I was taking flying lessons. I've flown a couple times. I really liked it, except for that air pocket, but it's an understanding that air pocket. There's polyps and then diverticulosis. So there's not only air polyps, but then there's air pockets, Because that one we hit that day, man, it was pretty hard. I mean, later on flying after that, I just smell too much oil. It really affected the engine. It like flooded the engine in oil, but it still kept running. So that's a good thing to know. Remember my PayPal account? Oh, wouldn't that be great? I'm going to go play some golf today. But I was going to tell you about the flying lesson. I talked to the guy and, text also. Not as much ice today. It's just not cold. Melted. And I asked him about flying, directions, and like the sorties and waypoints. And you got to ever think about when you go to San Diego or something like that, and you fly. Why don't you do like a sortie, a waypoint communication, travel down by where they've got it posted, where fast-moving vehicles and it could be drug stuff and death, blah blah blah. I mean, it's like the drug cartel. That guy. He's wedged that far into the United States. It's like his. Now, if it has to do with that drug lord down there, I call him a drug lord because that's how he got all his start. But the things he could do with all that he had and do good, but there were just too much of the drug activities is the problem. And it only needs to come from a source, not sorcerers, This can't be like that. And this guy has got so much money, he was burying the money in the ground. I mean, millions of dollars just buried in the ground. What if he marked it with any metal? I'll get my metal detector down there, probably find out in a satellite,